5 people appeared in the Cape Town Magistrates Court on Friday for selling a 14-year-old girl for sex. Those arrested include the young girl's mother and her partner. 3 of their accomplices were granted bail while the mother and partner remain in custody. Now, for some reaction, we're joined by Joan Van Niekerk who is the Childline's National Coordinator. Thanks so much for joining us, Joan. Obviously, a very horrific case. How big is child trafficking in the Cape and the rest of the country, to your knowledge?
Well, it's very difficult to know the extent of the problem because it's such a hidden activity and it's not always recognized as such. And we do come across cases in which children are sold in this way by parents and caregivers and others who are exploiting them for sex. So it is a large problem for us. We come across it fairly frequently, but I cannot tell you exactly how many children are affected in this way.
Obviously, this is particularly shocking. As we said, the mother, possibly the one that's been pimping out the child, has now been arrested. How do you actually deal with cases like this going forward, though? What is some of the advice that you're giving to people out there and just parents at large?
Well, I think, first of all, people must know that child prostitution is seen as a very serious crime in this country. Our law is extremely clear that anybody involved in child prostitution, including the user, parents who know about it, the people pimping the child, even if you own a property in which you know child prostitution is taking place, you are guilty of a crime under the Sexual Offences Act. And indeed, the penalties are extremely high. We do have problems, though, with the policing, especially policing that kind of looks at prevention and surveillance. There are times when we really struggle to get police to respond in a proactive way as an organization. There are times, though, when in certain areas the police come out tops in terms of investigating and protecting these children. The other thing I want to mention is it must be reported. It is a crime not to report child abuse in this country of a sexual nature, and it must be reported to the police. It is important also that having reported, you do follow up to make sure that the child is actually located and rescued, and that the perpetrators of this crime are dealt with.
Do you think that South Africa's laws, though, have enough clout against child trafficking? Are they at all effective?
In fact, we have passed our trafficking legislation, but it has not yet passed into implementation. But this is not a problem because there are still provisions in our Sexual Offences Act that allow us to deal with the trafficking of children for sexual purposes very adequately. And as I said, the penalties are very high. Our biggest challenge in this country, which has some very progressive legislation relating to children, is implementation. Another big challenge that we have is services to children after they have been rescued. These are extremely thin on the ground, they're very poorly funded, and these children really do need specialized psychological help.
Well, thank you very much for your time. That was Joan Van Niekerk, the Childline's National Coordinator, speaking to us there.
News that moves. eNCA.com.